Hello, this is Mr. Kenyanola, and I'm going to teach you today about that thing that you fly in the air on a windy day. That thing that electrocuted Benjamin Franklin when he tied a key to it on a stormy evening. Yes, I'm going to teach you today about kites. So, what you're going to need today is a ruler, a pen, pencil, two, maybe three colored markers, crayons, and just in case, a calculator. So, preferably ones with physical buttons, but if you're using your phone calculator, use it. So, kites. Kites. When you think about kites, if you've ever built a kite, you didn't start off. I mean, you could pretty much picture how a kite looks, but when you've built a kite, maybe with your dad or your mom or your uncle, and you're like, let's fly a kite, it's a windy day, how do we make one? Well, you didn't start off making the outside part of it. You took the frame of it. I think that's what it's called, or some people just say the two sticks. Those two sticks. So let's draw those two sticks inside of the kites, and really those are just called, in technical terms in geometry, diagonals. So we're gonna take the diagonals, and we're gonna draw a line in any length you want, and then you just pick a point right there. And if you remember, the diagonals inside of a kite when you're building it look kind of like a lowercase t or like a cross. So try to define what a T or a cross looks like. It's one vertical line, remember vertical or ups and downsies, and one horizontal line, but there's something special about that horizontal line. Well, it's perpendicular to the vertical line, so it makes a 90-degree angle. So make sure to take your ruler and make sure whatever point you pick, see that 2 right there? Okay, make sure that it just continues that line right there, and make sure that you draw 2 equal halves. So here I'm going to make one half 1 inch and then the other half 1 inch. So just by looking at that, for our kite, we have 2 facts. All right, fact number 1. That, well, the diagonals are perpendicular. So if you don't know what that symbol is, that means it is perpendicular. Perpendicular. Okay, perpendicular. So take your blue or salmon colored pen, crayon, and you know what perpendicular means. It means that they make 90-degree angles. So put one 90-degree angle there. But if you want to put 4, just so that you know they're all 90 degrees, go for it. Okay, so perpendicular. Look at that. And next thing is fact number 2. Look at it. What's fact number 2? So here's what separates a kite from a parallelogram, rectangle, square, or a rhombus. Because a kite is not a parallelogram. Because, remember, fact number 5 in a parallelogram is that the diagonals bisect each other, both diagonals. But look at this. This side isn't an equal half to this side. It's not the half of this side, but only this half and this half. So what makes a kite distinct from a parallelogram is that exactly, or only, let's just put only, one diagonal is bisected. Only one. Okay, only one diagonal is bisected. And get your highlighters. Highlight that, and just put some extra ink right there on the one, and then do the rest. Okay, only one diagonal, so remember that. So let's put our tick marks. So this tick mark right here and this tick mark right here. We're not putting any tick marks here and here because obviously this side right here is way shorter than this line right here. So only one diagonal is bisected. All right, we're not flying this right here. Because it doesn't have a sail. Is that what it's called for the kite? So let's draw the sails on the kite. So Um, if you look at this though, see how this we have one tick mark and 90 degree, and then reflexive, one tick mark, 90 degree reflexive. If we had a triangle, so that means that, look at that, if we drew just these two triangles right here, that means that this triangle would be congruent to this triangle right here because of side, angle, reflexive side, side, angle, reflexive side. And with that, we could come up with a few more characteristics, some facts about kites. Because these two triangles are congruent, let's use blue. This side is congruent to this side, and it's because this triangle is congruent to this triangle. This angle is congruent to this angle right here. So this diagonal really bisects this big angle into two equal halves because these two triangles are congruent. And if you focus on this triangle right here, what kind of triangle is it? This big one. Look at two tick marks, two tick marks. Yeah, it's an isosceles triangle. And what do isosceles triangles have? Base angles, and base angles are congruent. So look at that. Kites, they have a lot of things that are congruent there. So you have to use some prior knowledge, some logic, knowing that this triangle is a reflection of this triangle. It's congruent, so everything here is congruent to everything over here. These parts, and isosceles in the 90s. Now, yeah. So take a second, breathe all that in, take it all in. It's a lot. I know, I get it. Now let's draw the rest of our sail. So we've got this, and again, side 90 degree reflexive side 90 degree reflexive side. So that means that this triangle is congruent to this triangle. So we can say that because this triangle is congruent to this triangle, we can say that this side is congruent to this side right here, and this angle right here, 1 2 3 arcs, is congruent to this angle right here. So this diagonal bisects this angle right here, this big angle, to two equal halves. And if you focus on this big triangle right here, it is isosceles. So remember, isosceles triangles have base angles, so these angles are also congruent. So let's put 4 arcs there. 1 2 3 and 4. Should have put a different color, but oh well. All right, so that's a kite. That is a kite. One more thing, okay, that separates a kite from a parallelogram are these. So a parallelogram, fact number 4, if you remember in the order that I put in my video earlier, opposite sides are congruent. But look at kites. Here's this side, and here's its opposite side. That's 3 tick marks. That's 2 tick marks. 3 tick marks, 2 tick marks. So here, opposite sides are not congruent, but this side is congruent to this side. This side is congruent to, so the sides that are next to each other. So these two down here and these two down here, 2 pairs of next to. The word for next to is adjacent. A lot of vocabulary today. Adjacent sides are congruent. So fact number 2, 2 pairs of adjacent sides are congruent. So 2 pairs of adjacent sides, 2 pairs of sides that are next to each other are congruent. So this side is congruent to this side. They're next to each other, so that's 1 pair. And this side is congruent to this side. They're next to each other. That's 1 pair. Okay? Because we have 2, if you want to think about it, 2 isosceles triangles. So let's put that there. Because of 2 isosceles triangles. Oh my goodness. There's so much goodness in kites. Can you see it? Can you feel it? How great this kite is? Look at all this. There's just so much information. It's no mistake. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. Yeah. Okay. And one more thing I want to show you about kites. Let's just draw that diagonal right there, the vertical one. And then let's draw. We're not going to draw the horizontal. I just want us to get the points. So go 1 inch there, 1 inch there. That's the midpoint right there. And we're just going to draw this part right here. Now, obviously, if you were to try to fly this kite without that horizontal diagonal, it'll fall apart. It'll just fold in half. But one thing I want to show you is this. Look at this right here. See how there's 2 arcs here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 arcs here, for a total of 6 arcs. 2 arcs, 4 arcs, for a total of 6 arcs. So this angle plus this angle, this big angle right here, is congruent to this little angle plus this little angle. So it's congruent to this big angle right here. So let's put in a different color. Let's say that this angle is congruent to this angle. So this big angle right here is congruent to this big angle. And just a reminder, as we're focusing on these 2 triangles, this angle is congruent to this angle, just like we said there. This angle is congruent to this angle, as we said there. Okay, and then yeah, for funsies, adjacent sides congruent. So if we didn't have this horizontal diagonal, then there's some facts there. So, but this is the big one. These angles, these are the only opposite angles that are congruent. Okay, so, fact number 4. Only one pair of opposite angles are congruent. So, only one pair, because these angles are not congruent, or this big angle is not congruent to this big angle. Okay, that's, yeah, just this. So that's what makes it so distinct, so different from a parallelogram. So a kite is not a descendant of a parallelogram. Okay, it doesn't inherit the facts of a parallelogram, the 5 facts. It has its own facts. It's its own person. Okay, so kites, that's it right there. So let's do an example. Let's draw a kite. Let's draw one more. So everyone draw a vertical, diagonal, and then go 1 inch over here and 1 inch over here, or you could go as long as you want or as short as you want, and then just make sure that this half is congruent to this half right here. And then let's draw the sail of the kite so it could fly in the air, and make sure your paper doesn't move like mine. Okay, so let's put 34 here, and let's put 41 here, and let's figure out all these angles right here. So at this point right here, I want you to press pause, and I want you to try to figure out all of these individual little angles. And then once you're done, unpause it. Okay, unpause. Here it is. Let's quickly do it. Well, we know that the diagonals are perpendicular because that's fact number 1. So this is 90, this is 90, this is 90, this is 90. And next thing is we can use the triangle sum theorem, because we know that the angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. If this is 90, this is 41, then this has to be 49, because that adds up to 180 degrees. And so, yeah, 180 minus 90 minus 41 is 49. And we know that these 2 triangles, or this triangle is congruent to this triangle, so this is also 41 degrees. And we know that this is an isosceles triangle, so this is already also 49 degrees. Now we're going to use the same triangle sum theorem to figure out this angle All three angles add up to 180. 180 minus 34 minus 90 is 56. And because this is an isosceles triangle, this is a base angle, so this is also 56. And this is right here, 34 degrees. Don't forget the degree symbol and all of these. Okay. All right. So look at that. With all those facts, it still doesn't break the triangle sum theorem because these add up to 180 degrees. It doesn't break the base angles fact for isosceles triangles. So everything works out. So that's a kite. All right. I'll give you another example. Here we go. Sit tight. Here is example 2. Find x and y in this kite. We know it's a kite because two pairs of adjacent sides are congruent. It's asking us to figure out what x and y are. Well, first thing is, what do we know? We know that these opposite sides are congruent to each other. So we know that this is 111. So all we have to do is write 2x is equal to 111. Divide both sides by 2. And take our calculators. What is half of 111? 55.5. Yeah. X is 55.5. Okay. Now, here's the tricky part. What is y? Well, one fact that you may or may not have known yet is that for any quadrilateral, a quadrilateral is a shape with 4 sides. Okay, the angles. So let's write this quadrilateral. Here's another side fact. So quadrilaterals. So 4 sides. The sum of angles is 360 degrees. So that means all 4 of these angles add up to 360 because, I'll show you, because what makes a kite right here really is 2 triangles. 180 plus 180 is 360. I know you're looking here and you're like, but there's 4 triangles there. But these angles right here don't count towards these angles right here. So we don't need these angles right here. We just want these angles. And these angles, 2 triangles are enough to make up these angles. So 360. So all we're going to do is go 80 plus 111 plus 111 plus y adds up to 360 degrees. We're going to take our trusty calculators and put in the light because it's a solar calculator. 80 plus 111 plus 111, 302. 360 minus 302 is 58 degrees. So y is 58 degrees. There you go. Yeah. So they add up to 360. I could double check that. 180 plus 111 plus 111 plus 58. 360. There you go. So all these angles, again, add up to 360 because 2 triangles make up any quadrilateral. Okay, and not 4 because these angles in the middle don't count as these angles right here that we care about. All right, and last example. Whew. Figure out x. Here's a kite. Press pause. Try to do this on your own. Okay, unpause. So I know what you're going to try to do. You're going to initially, just on instinct, you're going to put 4x plus 1 is equal to 2x minus 3. Please don't do that. Look, there's 1 tick mark here, 2 tick marks here. That doesn't mean they're congruent to each other. But look, 1 and 1. So let's just follow the 1 and 1s. 4x plus 1 is equal to 17. And you're thinking in your brain, but I really want to use that x also. I need to use that x also. Don't worry, okay? Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, and so we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. 4x is equal to 16. Divide both sides by 4. X is equal to 4. Now, if x equals 4, it should work here also. Let's see. So 2 tick marks, 6x minus 3 is equal to 21. And we're just doing this just to make sure that the x's really are 4. Divide both sides by 6, and look at that. X is equal to 4. So this follows the law that only 2 pairs of adjacent sides are congruent. 4x plus 1 is equal to 17. 6x minus 3 is equal to 21. And then when you work it all out, x equals 4. All right, that's it for kites. There will be way more examples that you'll encounter, but these are the basics. Use these facts, use all these arcs and tick marks, and you will be brought to the promised land. So that's it. Have a great day. Mr. Q. Bye.